Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to SVR. My name is Webbo, here to join you as usual for the racing action, and we're ready in the glorious Spa 24-hour layout for our G2 round 11 of our 13-round championship. This is how things look coming out of any post-race decisions and results after Dragon Trail Croatia round 10. Delesi lead the championship in the team standings ahead of Kimi's racing team. Looks like Delesi are almost there with the championship by now, with Kimi's racing team in second. Coach Dave only 7 points away for those podium positions, with Burkestein in fourth, Mega Racing down in fifth place, with Bro Karga in sixth, and Jan Placht Interiors in seventh place. Our Drivers' Championship then looking something like this. Pumpkin King leads the championship and is getting on for 2 clear wins. I think possibly even is 2 clear wins ahead of Apex Not Found. Pumpkin King having won 5 feature races so far. Let's see what happens in this round. Of course, we've got a sprint to come, followed by the feature race. Apex Not Found in second place has 111 points, with JCGT, a very early serial podium driver who has been away for a while, been back, and has 79 points total. Monkey Games has 78 and has a strong chance of getting himself onto the podium for the season to come, as has Breo and Black Evo, who are joint in 5th place. Outside chance for Apex Specs in 7th. Quicks has 58 points in 8th place. DeLucas is in 9th with 49. Kelvin has 41. Motsky and Gubanov, the team mega pairing, 37 and 26th. 37 and 26 respectively, with Lord Hot Top Hat and Lemon, who are our recent joiners to the league. Who will have no scores so far, but I'm sure we'll be hoping for more, especially with a reverse championship grid order for the sprint race. Here we are. Then let's get on to the trackside situation. As I mentioned, reverse grid. However, at the back of the grid, you've got Nasty and Run DMC, who are reserve driving today. Nasty, our reigning 2024 AN Red Bull Junior champion, who has not been able to commit to a full season with us today, but this year, but has put in some very intriguing guest drives. Lord Top Hat will start at the very front, as will Gubanov and Motsky in second and third positions. Our championship leaders, Pumpkin King and Apex Not Found, for Delesi and for Coach Dave respectively, will start on the penultimate row of the grid. We'll go over to see and find some drivers who are getting ready to get underway. This is row 2, with Motsky in the beautiful black and red ahead of the black and gold of Jan Placht Interiors, Kelvin the Boss. So 5 laps for the sprint, followed by 50 minutes for the feature race. Hopefully we're going to have plenty of action, and the grid, the rolling start for the sprint should mean that the drivers don't all crash at La Source or into Les Combes. Maybe not on the first lap anyway. So let's get underway for the race. So we're ready for this sprint race then for the drivers. They're ready to get underway. I think soft tyres are the way to go when we've only got 5 laps here, but it's over 2 minutes for the racing lap at Spa. It is drop the clutch and go, go, go. And already Gubanov looking a little bit squirrely as he tried to get the power down. He's got his teammate right with him. Behind them, we've got DeLucas and Kelvin the Boss screaming up the hill. DeLucas very much off the track. He may pick up a penalty. You may see that happen as Apex Specs and Kelvin the Boss tried to crowd him out as they go into the first flying lap into our Les Combes, and it's Lord Top Hat who holds on to the lead of the race ahead of Gubanov. Kelvin the Boss has got himself into that 3rd position, and Black Evo and DeLucas have got by with there is the penalty for DeLucas, but Apex Specs in 6th. Motsky dropped all the way down to 7th position at the start. Breo's in 8th, Monkey Games in 9th, and JCGT right behind him as they vie for that 3rd place in the championship as we draw this season, this long 2025 VR Simracing World Championship season to a conclusion. Pumpkin King is in 12th, exactly where he started, with Apex Not Found as well, taking it fairly steady. Run DMC and Nasty at the back for Buckstein and for Kimmies respectively, but the lead of the race is with Lord Topat and Gubanov, as the drivers behind start to really close in. Here is Black Evo looking very strong in the all-white Buckstein livery into the Leifania Piff Paff chicane. De Lucas getting very aggressive on the way into Leifania part 2, and actually I have to say I'm a little bit confused by that one. When he's about to take a 1-second penalty, he's going to drop behind these drivers regardless. So let's see as they come through to get that off-throttle penalty now. Down the order goes De Lucas, and that promoting Kelvin the Boss and Black Evo, who are going to go side by side on the approach into Blanchimont corner. Oh, there's a little hip check there from the Buckstein driver, and it has not helped. I think was that Kelvin then, but Kelvin manages to hang on down into the bus stop. Wow, that was incredibly close and tight from both drivers. Really good. And then we've got absolute carnage at the back. It looks like several drivers going wrong. That wasn't Breo going wrong. I think that was De Lucas, who was caught in a tremendously difficult situation after taking that penalty. Let's ride with him. This is how things look for him. There's the off-throttle penalty. Everyone's going to go piling by, and he's going to try his best to stick with it. There comes his teammate Breo in the Jag, and floating on by around the outside. You've still got a reduction in momentum. The cars in front there, the Kimmies and the Coach Dave of Apex Specs going side by side. What happens next? Well, that is a huge dive in down the inside from Apex Not Found, and then getting tipped around in the corner, getting plenty of contact, unfortunately. Let's just see Apex Not Found and his well, it looked like a dive bomb. He was very late on the brakes. He avoided contact with anybody and put himself into a wide, as there's lots going on around him. That's a Buckstein car, and somehow or other, as is often the way, most of our championship contenders getting on through. Monkey Games, though, all the way back to P12. I better go and watch that once again to see exactly what happened to Monkey Games. Why is he so low in the order as he comes closing in? Did he also get a penalty coming through the next few corners? No, he didn't. Okay, we'll just skip forward and see his run through the bus stop and what's happening in front. There's that Buckstein car. I think that's the one that had the difficulty, and I think that is Run DMC. Run DMC losing it on his own. Monkey picking up a couple of positions, and then unfortunately coming to a dead stop as his teammate and championship leader Pumpkin gets fully hampered coming out of the next few corners. Apex Not Found rescuing his position as he manages to get the next run as we go down into La Source, and Apex Not Found trying to go all the way around the outside. Plenty of space, respectful space left by Monkey Games, and they will continue to keep rushing. However, as they dive into lap 2 of this sprint race, Lord Top Hat is up there in P1. Monkey Games just yielding position on the way into La Source, into Eau Rouge and over the top of Radion, but hoping to get the additional top speed. He's got some damage on the front of the car, unfortunately for him, as has Nasty, who's got front and rear flashing damage there on the car, and it is absolutely all up for grabs here today in the sprint. Already you've got Pumpkin King with a dented moustache on his front fender, and damage being displayed there on the car, but he is ahead of his main championship rival as we run into the next sequence. And that's Kelvin the Boss getting very out of shape, and unfortunately insult to injury adds on the 1.5 second penalty. He's then going to have to pay as we run on into the next few corners. There's Apex Specs in P5, Motsky in P6, having held on admirably despite a very poor start. JCGT in 8th and Nasty in 9th. Nasty up from the very back of the grid, and there you've got JCGT wearing the Lewis Hamilton Ferrari era run. Pumpkin King just getting out of shape himself into Leifania, and I think that is still struggling to hold on to the Porsche with that front damage. Of course, the front doing a lot of work on the Porsche, given that all the weight is on the rear of the car. So you've got Nasty right there in P9 and closing in. No one in this group are free of damage or issue. And Nasty then trying to get what slipstream he can, working on the damaged front and rear of his Ferrari as the drivers in front of him go diving down into the bus stop. That is round the outside, trying JCGT. That's not going to work. Kelvin the Boss, he just needs to get the throttle working nicely on the exit of the corner. They exit the corner as they entered it, and then unfortunately that was another problem for our second in the championship, Apex Not Found, who struggled through the bus stop for the second consecutive lap. But side by side going into La Source go the drivers, the two well, oh dear me, that is not fun for Breo. Unfortunately, he spins and then holds the car in position. This is him heading into La Source. He's got his teammate on his outside. He's overtaking Monkey Games, goes through, puts his foot down on the throttle, and unfortunately there is no grip out there when you've got two wheels off the black asphalt, and down to 14th position for Breo. Sorry to say. Black Evo though has motored on through and is about to take the lead of the race. There he is with the purple sector on this lap 3, diving into Lake Com, and Black Evo screams into the lead. Lord Top Hat still holding on to second position. We saw this in the G1 race, that it was certainly favoured the drivers who started at the front and could stay out of trouble. So the top two, Gubinoff and Lord Top Hat, right there. Black Evo though has managed to make the overtake. Apex Specs in 4th, Motsky in 5th, after starting I think was third on the second row at very least. JCGT in 6th, followed by Kelvin the Boss, and then we have Nasty and Pumpkin King coming through to complete the top 9. Run DMC, who started at the very, very back of the grid, up to 10th position. Plenty of opportunities though, as Pumpkin King will try and get some additional score. I think the win may be out of reach though for our feature race double race winner in the last 2 rounds, and 5-time feature race winner, Pumpkin King. Here we go as we run through. It's Black Evo, Lord Top Hat, Gubinoff at the front of the field, but Pumpkin King and Nasty are hounding Kelvin the Boss as we go through Stavolo into Paul Frere, which is the most important corner really to get the power down, and because there's no gimmicks down this long run through in the double left that culminates in Blanchimont. We are foot to the floor until I would estimate around 100-meter board. Let's have a look as here comes. Yeah, it's a little bit earlier under race trim, I think, and with damage for Nasty, but I think in qualifying the drivers would be approaching that 100-meter braking point as they head into the bus stop before slamming on the anchors. Here is Pumpkin King. Not much going on in terms of overtakes in this group at the moment, at least, as it looked like there was a driver just going through La Source. The driver arrows on the track map do look a little bit confusing. They do look like the drivers are coming unglued slightly, but I think all is well. Here is Kelvin the Boss with Motsky and Pumpkin King. Let's join Pumpkin King on board as we try to take advantage here of what could be a double toe. You can see the understeer through the corner. He stayed on the curb but did go over the white line. Hopefully he will avoid a penalty. I think he will do. No, that's crushing for Pumpkin King. Unfortunately, there's the 1 second penalty. Sometimes you can ride the curb on your inside tyres, sometimes you can't, and through Radeon clearly you cannot ride that curb. So unfortunately for him, failing to just lift, he obviously wanted to maximise his chance. Here comes JCGT talking about maximising chances as they run into Rivage corner, and it is a very late apex or even a double apex Rivage corner as you set up for Jackie X here. And clearly JCGT feeling like he's got more pace underneath him. Motsky possibly being the train driver at the moment ahead in P5 of a group of 5 cars, all trying to find their way through. The 612 though, for now, Motsky holding on this, the penultimate lap of the sprint race. So much that happens in a sprint. I tend to get very excited during sprint races, and then unfortunately things tend to calm down a little bit during the feature race. Let's see what happens though. There is the penalty that Pumpkin King will be subject to on the way out of Paul Frere, and Run DMC will be eyeing up a chance for an overtake as he runs through. There is on the anchors. It looks like he's coming to an absolute stop, but there goes Run DMC passing as we see the drivers coming through. There is JCGT just getting himself ahead of Kelvin the Boss, with Nasty with him as well, and they run down in towards the bus stop. No one else making a manoeuvre. Looks like Motsky came unstuck on that run, unfortunately. Let's see what happened to Motsky. I didn't think he was suffering a penalty at the time, but maybe he was. Let's just double check. Yeah, he did have a penalty. That explains everything. And so he was heading those two Ferraris. He's now behind the group with just Pumpkin King ahead of him, who had a similar size of penalty. Oh, the Italian cars are struggling through the bus stop to get this turned around. Obviously, the tyres are running out, the fuel's running out, the car's getting light, and it's quite a dramatic change of car condition through this sprint. The two Ferrari drivers, Nasty and JCGT, almost colliding through La Source. JCGT would be feeling a little bit as if perhaps his teammate might need to just ease off slightly here, because obviously for the championship, side by side in towards Eau Rouge they go. Run DMC versus Nasty, our two reserve drivers who have got absolutely nothing in terms of the championship to fight for here, apart from points for their team. But in the drivers championship, that was fully elbows out from both of them as they run down. A penalty has been awarded to Run DMC. Nothing anyone can do about that, unfortunately. Down into Lake Com. He completes the move ahead of JCGT, who lost out from two drivers going through there, as Nasty goes storming on into P5. JCGT might be thinking, you know what? This is not good for my championship, trying to secure that P2 in the championship at this stage anyway. Black Evo has checked out at the front of the race. Lord Top Hat has been absolutely laudable in his efforts here so far, holding on to second place after being gifted pole thanks to our reverse championship standings. Apex Specs is right there as well in P4, knocking on the door of the podium, but we've got Nasty in 5th. Run DMC, who I think is going to take a penalty here, and then I wonder if Nasty will do the right thing for the Drivers' Championship here and yield to his teammate, because they'll be together on track. I don't know. I'm not sure. Whoa, that's Motsky with a big slide there. What happened to him? Did he get pushed into this one from the car behind? Well, it's too difficult to tell from that view. Let's have a look. Oh, he was off track already, going through Pouhon, and then is it compounded by contact into Le Fagna, or has he got cold or damaged tyres? Oh, I can't give him any excuses for that one. Rescued it well, but yeah, sadly that one didn't work out for him. Here comes Black Evo then coming through Blanchimont corner. Got Lord Top Hat in 2nd, and Gurbanov ready for 3rd place. Apex Specs in 4th with Nasty. It looks like Run DMC is going to lose out onto that position. Yes, he is. Let's check out though as Black Evo comes through out of the bus stop to win the sprint race in Belgium. Black Evo on top ahead of Lord Top Hat in 2nd, and Gurbanov in 3rd place for Team Mega. We've got Apex Specs coming through in 4th. There is Nasty in 5th place. Is he going to pause and hold for his teammate? It might be a little bit risky, but no, Nasty will go through and take home P5 ahead of championship full-time driver in the Kimmy's Racing Team, JCGT. Pumpkin King managed 7th from the back. Run DMC 8th from the back, and Kelvin the Boss in 9th. DeLucas, Apex not found, Motsky, Breo coming through, with Monkey Games sadly at the back after contact and issues aplenty. There's Breo. Monkey Games will take home 14th. Your winner though, Black Evo. It is the feature race time. It's time for 50-minute race around the Spa 24-hour layout. The drivers are ready on the start grid, pointing directly at Eau Rouge as they are, and they're also going to take the achingly long pit lane exit, which will feed them out at the top of the hill as well, which is going to really add to the pit stop timings here today. Motsky starts at the back on the medium tyres. And Breo will go for the hards. I'm anticipating most will be on the mediums here. Kelvin the Boss qualifying in 12th with Apex Specs in 11th. Apex Specs also on the hard tyres. We've got Gurbanov in 10th in the Lexus on the medium tyre, with Lord Top Hat on the hard tyre. It looks like it's actually an even split. Apex not found on hards in the Audi R8. with Monkey Games in 7th on the hard tyres. De Lucas starts on the mediums in 6th, JCGT qualifying 5th, starting on the hard tyres. Of course, the Ferrari grid start advantage somewhat complicated here by the flow of the circuit, but we will be on grid starts and he'll be starting on the hard tyre. Pumpkin King only qualifying in 4th place. That is a very unusual situation. So if he's going to keep his streak of race wins and add to the 5 he already has in total, it's going to be a difficult run here. With we've got Nasty in P3 on hard tyres. Likewise, Black Evo starting at the front on 2nd position on the grid, with Run DMC starting in 3rd place. Run DMC also on the hard tyres, excuse me for that. We're ready to get underway. The Nismos locking out the start, the front row here. But 50 minutes await us for the race. Obviously makes life rather difficult for the drivers to calculate their fuel loads, and 5 meter per second northeasterly wind as well is going to be very, very challenging for everybody concerned. Let's get ourselves underway for the race, and hopefully we will have plenty of drama to talk about. Time for the G2 race around Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, in case the big sign didn't let you know. And it's drop the clutch and go, go, go. There goes the initial bite from the Ferrari of Nasty, who moves forward. We've got 3 wide on the back of the grid at the moment. Pumpkin King in 6th position, losing out to 1 Ferrari, I believe. De Lucas and JCGT fighting over the top of Radeon, and running wide goes the Lexus of the rearmost starting team Mega driver. But we've got Run DMC in that 1st position, and then we're heading all the way into Lacom. De Lucas, Black Evo, Pumpkin King as they are going to try and do this 3 wide. They will try and dive bomb De Lucas. I think Pumpkin King has a championship to think about. He's being very steady, very careful on the way into the next few corners, and as they come through, you've also got then Lord Top Out, Breo and Motsky going 3 wide through Lacom, and very respectful, very careful. But unfortunately, Team Mega at the back of the grid now after that start, 13th and 14th positions. Let's see if they can build a better race result out of this one, as Run DMC gets a massive tank slapper on, going through the Jackie X corner on the approach into Puon as we run down, and there is De Lucas on the medium tyres ahead of just behind the hard tyre shod Nismo of Run DMC. Nasty is in 3rd place. Looks like Black Evo had an issue. We've got JCGT running very wide through Puon. Pumpkin King taking a very steady run through the corner. Let's see if he managed to perform an outside-inside maneuver there. Oh, he just kept it a lot more calm going through Puon. Didn't take it all the way to the edge of the racetrack, and when his other drivers were on cold tyres heading towards the exit, nervously or completely off the exit, JCGT is having a nightmare run through this 2nd sector of the opening lap. Moving down the inside into Stavelo goes Kelvin the Boss. It might hamper him slightly as they run through Paul Frere, but JCGT down to 8th position now, trying to line up a good run out of Paul Frere, but Apex Not Found absolutely has the traction here at the moment, and he's even on the hard tyres. He's managing to perform a great run. There goes Breo up from near the back, and he's side by side, and he's overtaken Apex Specs here in the Audi R8, and then lots of moving around. Lord Top Hat in 12th. Gubanov is fighting. Motsky's with him as well, and just making the overtake past Lord Top Hat. But no one out of position, no one having an absolute terrible start. We've got the full train of drivers all locked together. De Lucas and Run DMC continue. De Lucas should be gaining really well from the top speed of the Jag as they run through. That's a Logitech G Pro on the bonnet there for De Lucas. This is his view, albeit on a static camera, whereas of course he's got the VR. I think he was sensible and just ducked out of the throttle. We'll wait to see if he gets himself a penalty coming on the car, but yeah, he went over the line, and that stymied any chance he had for a run into Lacom side by side. But Pumpkin King is attacking Black Evo, who is trying to recover his race after starting on the front row of the grid. He manages to just get the tail ahead. Pumpkin King is playing this very strategically, going around the outside, moving around, taking different racing lines as other drivers clearly are far more marginal on their grip. Pumpkin King is being pretty conservative at this point, and who would blame him leading the championship? He knows the race is 50 minutes long, and you certainly can't win it at the start. I'm sure he's keeping that firmly in mind, and behind him runs the trio of Kelvin the Boss, Apex Not Found, and JCGT. They're having just about got his Ferrari hard tyre shod car up to temperature and running neatly. The straight black stripe on the front of a Delesi car indicating it's Monkey Games and not a moustache of Pumpkin King. Nice and easy to tell the difference between them. Apex Specs is in 10th, Moski's in 11th, with just Lord Top Hat separating the two Team Mega cars. Maybe that will be about to... No, Breo's right there as well, in 13th place. So Gubinoff at the back at the moment, and they have distanced themselves off the back of the train of the cars that were all together come lap 1. So it is Run DMC, DeLucas and Nasty. Run DMC trying to hold on to his position on the medium tyres and diving down the inside. Very late manoeuvre there from DeLucas and holding station on the inside line. Great overtake in the end from DeLucas. It always looks so pedestrian going through the bus stop, but he made a great overtake, and now he can unlock the power of the Jag if he can just get his line going through Eau Rouge and Raidillon a bit more legal, shall we say, on the approach to La Source. Nasty's in 3rd. Black Evo just goes wide going through La Source now. Oh, there's a little tap on the rear there as the drivers, the difference in performance on the two cars is manifest. And look at the height difference of those two cars as they come towards our camera position. Nicely balanced. Obviously Pumpkin King very much at one with his Porsche, and the torque going up the hill appeared to be a lot better for Pumpkin King. Same tyres on both cars, but DeLucas gapping Run DMC thanks to his medium tyres, thanks to a slight top speed advantage in the Jag. Nasty hanging on in 3rd place and looking very good out there. Great qualifying from him. Kelvin the Boss has a 1-second penalty to pay, probably at the top of Raidillon. That was earned, unfortunately for him, ahead of Apex Not Found. And JCGT Monkey Games just at the back of the top 9, and playing the waiting game here on his hard tyres. Apex Specs in P10 there. Then we have Motsky, Lord Top Hat, with a big gap then back at the moment, some 5 or 6 seconds to Gubinoff and to Breo. Breo has having made, I think, another mistake, and that has allowed Gubinoff to go through. My apologies if that's not true. Nasty on the hard tyres is starting to catch Run DMC here. Run DMC, who had a terrific race in our previous round. So let's see if he can make that back to back. He was super impressive. Was Run DMC last time he was out on track. So Run DMC in P2, DeLucas there in P1, and yeah, you can see now the medium tyre shod Jag just starting to extend that gap. He needs to build a gap because of course he is on the tyres that are going to degrade too much, and he misjudges the run. Oh, that is horrible for him as the GT7 resets him back to the midpoint of the corner. He couldn't quite get back on track in time, and it put him back into P3. So Run DMC back in the lead of the race ahead of Nasty, and Nasty closing in here on a potential lead of the race for the first time. Let's ride with him as we head down in the I would say setting sun, but I believe we didn't get our full day transition we were hoping for from either of our G races this round, and we'll try to bring that to you for Nürburgring or Road Atlanta. And Run DMC, then we can see in the Nismo, the Ferrari does, if it has one weakness, it does seem to suffer in top speed as well. But Run DMC not helping himself there by missing the apex of the part 1 of Les Combes. Nasty should have better handling on the Ferrari. Run DMC defending hard as they head into Rivage corner. This is going to be a challenging one to go all the way around the outside. It's a very long corner, and trying the switch back then is Nasty, but he keeps putting himself on the outside of the corners, and Run DMC doing a brilliant job here of defending, perhaps over defensive then, allowing too much space on the exit of Jackie Eakes. Side by side into Pouon. Who's your money on here? Because you can go too wide, and it is fairly even amount of grip as the racing line ducks in and out of the corner cadence. Nasty has been super patient as they head into Le Fagna. He completes the move, and that is a big slide from Run DMC. Definitely worthy of some style points there, but we'll perhaps watch this from the perspective of De Lucas, who tries to sneak down the inside. Well, it wasn't an unhelped slide, and De Lucas is waiting for the car to go by. That was very sporting of De Lucas indeed, especially as he's put himself in a position where Pumpkin King can close right in. Run DMC, a tremendous hold there with unexpected contact. He was wide into Le Fagna, but Nasty takes the lead of the race. Our third race leader, is it, or fourth? I think, yes, it's our third race leader in 4 laps, which is fantastic here. Here comes Black Evo catching the group, who have all been slowed as a result of that contact. So Black Evo moving his way forward after a tremendous sprint win earlier on in this stream, and of course in the lobby on the day. De Lucas then, with the sunshine glinting off the Jag, runs through. Nasty, Run DMC, De Lucas, Pumpkin King and Black Evo, your order then on lap 5 as it starts. We've got JCGT in the Ferrari, getting himself ahead of Kelvin the Boss, Apex Specs and Motsky, who's showing very nicely right now. I think Motsky started on the mediums, yeah, confirm that one. So Motsky has moved forward thanks to those medium tyres in the Lexus. His top speed should be pretty good as well as they run through. This is Apex Specs and Motsky, as they might get a distant tow from Kelvin the Boss's Lamborghini as well. Motsky just needing to keep the car on the black stuff here and keep it legal as he runs over Radeon, and he does so. Let's see what the top speed looks like in comparison. It is maybe 1 or 2 miles an hour only to the advantage of the Lexus driver. Looks like Kelvin the Boss was a little bit compromised on the way into Lake Com. Didn't quite get the braking performance he was hoping for as he runs through Lake Com and then into Malmedy, down the very exaggerated downhill run of Rivage. You can see that on this camera angle, just how great that angle actually is through Rivage, particularly in wet. It is such a challenge, and it does appear like Kelvin the Boss is struggling here on the mediums to hang on, and they're starting to go off for our Canadian Yamplacht Interiors driver. Apex Specs tyres just getting better and better at this stage on the very planted and fairly high grip MR Audi R8, and he's in probably the better position of the 3 drivers here. Despite being on the hard tyres, he might struggle a little bit still for traction out of Paul Frere, but for now at least things looking pretty good. We are only 11 minutes into this feature race. The front drivers as they were before: Nasty, Run DMC, De Lucas, Pumpkin King, Black Evo, JCGT on his own at the moment, but hoping to feature as part of this run. And unfortunately, it just cut away as Kelvin the Boss makes the overtake. Then Apex Specs makes the overtake. Let's just go back to that one. Here it is. Oh, it was just a little bit wide, and then of course he's very keen to put the power down, but unfortunately Kelvin the Boss then picking up a penalty, which he'll carry all the way to this point on the track next lap. This might help Motsky, but Apex Specs just was gifted that one from Kelvin, unfortunately. 3 very different exits off Blanchimont corner. Kelvin the Boss is looking aggressive on the approach to the bus stop. And then I think Apex Specs leaving a little gap there. There's a pit stop underway, was it? Surely not. Yes, Black Evo into the pits already off the hard tyres. That is very early, and there's no obvious damage on the car. He's got plenty of fuel. He's got grip on the hard tyres, but he's decided that after 6 laps on the hard tyres, he's had enough. And it's time to get onto a different compound. Maybe he thinks he can get 2 sets of mediums home from this point. This is on board with Motsky as we follow 2 cars through Eau Rouge over Radeon corner. There was a slight lift in the 5th gear, And unfortunately he went over the track limit, so he's now got a 1 second penalty. Radion is so strict for the drivers. Great overspeed though for him as he heads down into Lake Com. Try to pressurise Kelvin. The car in front also has a penalty of 1.5 seconds now, but can Motzky be patient enough to wait until that difference is revealed through the exit of Paul Frere and onto the long straightaway at the back of the circuit? I wonder in sector 3. We'll wait and see. Gubanov has made it up to P9. That is remarkable, given where he was earlier on. So Team Mega have absolutely moved forward here so far, from near the back of the grid up to P8 and P9 respectively, with Apex not found in 10th on the hard tyres. Both Lexus drivers starting on the medium tyres. We've got the Jag of Breo in 11th, Lord Top Hat in 12th. Very different looking complexion of the race for him from the sprint race, of course, starting on the pole and trying to hold on to a podium and succeeding. Black Evo in P13. He has made a pit stop, as we were discussing earlier on, as has Monkey Games. I think both on similar laps. Black Evo runs through with Monkey Games in 14th right now, and he will have a real job on his hands here to take that Delesi into a point scoring position, or a strong point scoring position at least, through the course of the race. Nasty is extending his lead over Run DMC, who has the championship leader Pumpkin King, and last two feature race winner chasing him down, and also DeLucas hanging on to this run. Let's go off board, shall we? My apologies for the missed camera. There we go. Off board with Pumpkin King on chase cam, getting really nicely tucked in, and some drivers taking liberties there on the car on the Blanchimont on the left. Pumpkin King focusing on making sure he had plenty of gap, but he is suffering here. Doesn't quite get the overspeed he was looking for, but he has pressurized Run DMC into an error, who runs wide. Unfortunately, DeLucas clearly didn't have the run out of La Source he was hoping for, but Pumpkin King up to second place now, and in fairly good nick on his hard tyres, but Nasty probably floating around a little bit more comfortably in the Ferrari. He's on the hards and is able to open up a gap here. This is going to be intriguing. The reigning Red Bull Junior 2024 champion Nasty against the champion-elect here, who is far more used to his car than Nasty is for his Ferrari, I believe. Let's have a look at the mileage covered. Pumpkin King, 7,480 miles, versus Nasty, 461 in his Ferrari. That is quite a difference in terms of outright time in seat in the car. Of course, Nasty might have just bought a new Ferrari, but I think that's probably the truth of the matter. Run DMC only has just under 300 miles on his Nismo as they run through. DeLucas, of course, they've changed car, but he has still managed to put in 2,100 miles on his. And apologies if this is getting a bit boring. But I think it's interesting. It's a good measure of seat time in the cars for the drivers, until someone decides to game the system. Through the bus stop we go. Nasty, Pumpkin King, Run DMC and DeLucas, your top four. JCGT, I think slowly but surely reeling in the podium with Apex Specs. Motzky in 7th, Kelvin the Boss in 8th, ahead of Gubanov, who is up to 9th, as I mentioned earlier. Breo, Gubanov with some damage on that car. I think he's dropped back from the position he was in earlier on, and he's got damage on the front of his Lexus. There isn't damage on the back of Kelvin the Boss's Lamborghini, so I think he may have bumped into something static on the racetrack rather than another car. Breo is on the hard tyres in P10, and I wonder why Gubanov decided not to pit and fix that damage on the Lexus. Perhaps he's feeling that it will be manageable, but a lap that was 12 seconds slower than his previous lap for lap 7 there for Gubanov. I wonder if we watch this back, we might think, hey, that was an opportunity missed to make the pit stop. I think the two-stop is flexible enough for the drivers to make a decision at this point at lap 8. If you've started on the mediums, to switch to the hards, maybe slightly early, and try to undercut, but keep the performance, and most importantly, fix the damage on the front of your car. Brendon has a penalty to pay. Exit of Paul Frere just into sector 3. Apex not found in 11th, and Black Evo, and a little bit on the comeback here in P12. So again, a very slow lap, that previous one for Apex not found. He has damage on the car as well, and he's struggling to get into Rivage. And there is Black Evo then, newly on his medium tyres, needs to get by these drivers here. And getting the exit out of Jackie X, should be able to sweep ahead into Pouon. Certainly got enough space on the inside to slot in to that 11th place with comfort, and then with great performance. It looks like Gubanov running out of grip on the exit of Pouon corner. Can he hang on here to the similarly damaged attack from the Audi R8? No, unfortunately not. And Gubanov, I think, will take this as a cue now to pit at the end of this lap. Brendon hanging on gamely to his P9, but I think Black Evo will get the drive out of Paul Frere. Brendon, we know, was expecting a penalty, and here it is being paid. So Black Evo back up to P9. He dispatched 3 drivers with some skill and some issues for the 3 drivers, but he would mark that as a very successful lap 8, I think, and at lap 7 that gave him the fastest lap of the race. Nasty Pumpkin King DeLucas, the top 3 at this stage. Run DMC now pits, who is Black Evo's teammate, starting on the front row together. Black Evo will have performed the undercut here, I feel, given that Run DMC only just went in. Black Evo has managed to put in sufficiently quick laps there on his outlap and his lap 8, passing other drivers. Oh, that's Kelvin. Kelvin has spun, and was this at the top of Radion? That's a frightening place to have an accident in VR. There he goes, big slide. I mean, bravo for keeping it out of the barrier. You've seen cars be absolutely destroyed in track racing with a very similar issue there. But yeah, Kelvin the Boss, unfortunately, using the front of the wedge-shaped Lamborghini just to neaten up the grass edging. Wow, that's really problematic for Apex not found. Definite Cope Brown moment in the cockpit. Let's have a look at this. There was the warning on the top of the screen there, the yellow flag, as he comes through, and he's guessing left or right, left or right. Well, he goes left. Man alive, that was difficult, but I can't really put that on Kelvin from my view anyway. Kelvin had already recovered to the track. Apex not found did get a yellow flag, and unfortunately just guessed wrong. It was a 50-50 choice, left or right, but unfortunately for him, guessing the wrong side of that split. Kelvin the Boss down to 10th now with big damage on the rear of the car. Unfortunately for him, with Brendon in 11th. Kelvin, though, was due a pit stop very soon. Lord Top Hat's in 12th, Monkey Games in 13th. Gubanov, this is this incredibly long pit lane exit for Gubanov at the moment, as Nasty leads the race by probably 3 seconds from Pumpkin King. No pit stop from Nasty. We'll see if Pumpkin King is heading in. No. I think DeLucas could do with a pit stop, but he's going to bravely try and carry on here on the medium tyres to start lap 10 on the mediums and go what is that, 21? It will be nearly 23 minutes on the medium tyres there in the Jaguar. DeLucas, Apex Specs comes through the bus stop. No pit stop coming from him. Now Motsky has managed to clear. No, Motsky is running out of tyres, and he very sensibly elects to pit now. There he goes in for his first stop. 9 laps on the medium. I think we'll count that as a very successful stint. Black Evo in P7 has already pitted. He's got his teammate Run DMC, who was a former leader of the race, out behind him. And then comes Apex Not Found And I think we've got a problem for Gubanov, who we were waiting to see come into the pits. And he has gone all the way down to the very back of the grid, Gubanov, unfortunately. Oh, he has pitted. He has cleared the damage off the car. So thankfully it wasn't another error or issue. But 236, 238, sorry, 238 in lap. This is his out lap right now. Motsky, his teammate, is pitting. But Nasty leads our race. Here is DeLucas. We're going to watch with him and see if he hangs on here. The front tyres looking dangerously close to the canvas. He'll have to take this very steady. Just adjust his driving as much as possible. Feel what the tyres are doing. Don't expect too much from the front axle. Lots of fast, long corners in Spa. Require you to ask a lot of questions of the front axle in both directions, which is why we get quite a lot of wear. And you can see just a tiny amount of grip remaining on the front left of the car. That's going to hurt coming through this corner. It's not going to hurt as much going through the next two left-handers, where the weight transfer goes onto the right of the car, of course, with the G-forces involved. And then I think he's going to make it to the pit lane without major incident. Let's have a look as he heads down into the bus stop. Again, all the weight going onto the front of the car. The brakes avoiding a lockup there as he peels off into the pit lane, and he'll breathe a sigh of relief as he heads in. I just want to make sure he didn't hit the pit lane, the pit wall here. Certainly was very slow on the way in. Oh, very tight, but he did it. He did it all the same. So, again, another successful first stint, this time for DeLucas. Nasty and Pumpkin King started on the hard tyre. They are just running and running and running here. The hards and the mediums are available to the drivers to use, and they can make their strategic choice based on those choices. Because they all use the soft tyres in qualifying, so that won't, and it was low fuel as well, so it won't really have taught them anything about how the race runs. But here we go. This is Nasty in P1, Pumpkin King in P2, and JCGT now in P3. But all those drivers starting on the hard tyre, as did Apex Specs. The first driver to have pitted on the circuit so far, the highest placed driver, I think, is now going to be Black Evo. Yes. Excuse me a moment. Black Evo in P5, and not performing too differently to his teammate here right now. They're both on their second set of tyres. They're both on mediums. They started on the hards on the front row, and I think if they can work together, slightly alternate versions of this Bergstein Transport livery. I do find this one to be very fun, the 46 livery here, but I do prefer the classic OG that Run DMC is running. If you've got a different opinion, then of course more than entitled to share it in the comments. We love to hear livery opinions aplenty. I haven't seen much in the way of Belgium special twists to the G2 field liveries here today. There are a couple of new items on the liveries we saw in G1, but they haven't been copied across. DeLucas has been collecting new stickers to put on his car in recent races, but nothing that I can see particularly new here on the Brokaga. The Jann Placht with the turquoise flicks and features on the car, the end plate, the mirrors, is Lord Top Hat. Nothing particularly new there. There's a monkey sticker on the back of Monkey's car, of course, as you would expect, but no bananas, which I'm wondering whether we ought to have a banana on the car. Pumpkin King pits from P2. Let's just have a look at Motsky, who's rocking the original red and black livery. Maybe some new sponsors on the side skirts for Motsky's car, which is great to see. He's managed to collect some new finance, I think. Gubanov. Yeah, you've got some plenty of stickers on the well-supported 331. Similar livery, of course, for Breo and Kelvin the Boss in the dark blue version of the classic carbon Jann Placht interiors with the beautiful wrap Of course, here he's scraped a little bit of it off. There's going to be a couple of panels repaired later on between races. Reminder, we go to Nürburgring for the Grand Prix circuit feature race for the next round, and then different to the Formula cars, the final round of the season will be at Road Atlanta, and hopefully we, over the course of the next 2 races, can get some very nice day-night transitions for the drivers to enjoy. Nasty is running low on fuel, running low on tyres, but has managed these 12 laps then, and most of them at the front of the race in the Ferrari as he comes into Le Fagna. I don't think he's going to be struggling right now. We've got some nods to it being Pride season and our support for the LGBTQIA+ community here in SVR. You can see the Pride salute there on the back of the car, which looks great, and it's a real honour for us to stand by our friends in the rainbow community. We're all very proud allies. And here comes Nasty then, leading the race, catching the rearmost driver at the moment. I think that was Lord Top Hat. As we head down into the bus stop, Lord Top Hat is going into the pits. He's gone over the bollard, I think, there. And Nasty will follow him, but Lord Top Hat will probably take a 3-second penalty for missing the entry to the pit lane. JCGT looking great, but he is very, very low on fuel. In fact, the final pixel on his fuel gauge has just failed him. We'll see if he manages to get some throttle on the approach, but that was so tight for JCGT. How low did he go before he get into the pit lane on his fuel? Is it going to say 0 when we get in? It is going to say 0. Wow, fantastic calculation from JCGT, although using 5 litres more than his teammate to the same lap. Apex Specs pits now. This looks to be pit stop lap here for the hard runners, and look at the Bogenstein drivers go. Run DMC has got past his teammate. How recently was that, I wonder? Right here, I think, was that was a coordinated team move for the 2 of them, I believe. So Run DMC going through. Now that's interesting to me because Run DMC is not in the championship for the permanent drivers, Black Evo. So this might be a bit of a hand the place back later situation here for Black Evo, if it doesn't mean a discount in points for the team overall. Nasty still waiting, and Run DMC and Black Evo are absolutely going to take the lead of this race as they had it from the start. So starting on the hard tyres, running a little bit shorter, undercutting the drivers way in advance of what I was expecting to get off the hard tyres. It's just a case of how few laps they can get away with on the hard tyre rather than how many. So they are trying to maximise their runs on the medium tyre, at least in this middle stint, and while the car is lighter on fuel, although Black Evo is doing more of a sprint session here, I think, on the fuel. He didn't top up, so he's due a pit stop soon with just over 20 remaining minutes. So I think he's going to go hard medium and a longer hard strategy very soon, actually, by the look of the state of that tyre. So I think the slightly heavier, slightly chunkier Nismo compared to other cars is going to use those tyres at least quite a bit more than Nasty is in the Ferrari. Nasty on a new set of medium tyres then for him, but having yielded the lead of the race. He is within the pit stop window of the new leaders, Run DMC and Black Evo, but I think Black Evo, having stopped first, is going to have his hands full. Hard tyres to start with Pumpkin King. He's now on a set of mediums. I think he's going to one-stop this race with a fair degree of confidence. I think the Nismos were just not able to. This is one of the advantages of driving a rear-wheel drive car on a front-limited track, of course. You generally protect those fronts a little bit more than the mid-range and front-engine cars. So rear engine, rear-wheel drive, all the way to the back means that that in these fast corners the weight is transferred off the front axle, and that definitely helps with the tyre wear. There are other disadvantages, of course, as throughout the course of the season and at different points on the track, but I think in terms of tyre wear, things are helping somewhat. Black Evo then slightly over-calculating his low fuel run and his underestimating perhaps his tyre wear. He's gone into the pits then at the end of lap 13. I think he's going to strap on a new set of hard tyres potentially to two-stop race this one. Oh, that's wide from Monkey Games, very wide as he is struggling on the medium tyres. JCGT on brand new mediums is not struggling at all, of course. He goes in. Monkey Games refuses the pit lane. We do have a pit stop in progress. The driver in front, that was Apex Specs, just going in, and he's going in for a second, I want to say a second stop, must be a second stop then for him. So into the pits. He's now at pit exit, but he's still got to wait and go up the hill at pit lane speed limit as well, and try not to go over the white line. It's not easy, I have to say, as I'd like to give you driver view here, but I can't. As Apex Specs, he's gone past the F1 Grand Prix layout pit lane. He still hasn't even made it to his pit box after La Source. Here it is. So yeah, this is going to take a heck of a long time to get through the pit lane for him. Here comes Gubanov. Newish set of hard tyres. I think he's got fuel to a finish. Whether those tyres will last on the Lexus is a question mark for me at the moment. And here comes Apex Specs then, and we will. So remember the new characters on the back window. We get a really nice close-up look of there. Now, as you turn right here, you still have to keep it between the white lines, and we're close. Oh, and we didn't keep it between the white lines, so we can now go bonsai on the way out of the pit lane. But you suffer all the way down to Radion here. His teammate Ambreo getting by, and they are locked into a tough battle here. Apex not found, getting by past Breo and down into Lecon, but Breo hangs on round the outside. Can he claim that second Apex? That was very good from Breo, who's got the hazard lights flashing into Malmedy corner. You really can only go one car wide through there, and Apex not found, hangs on. Let's maybe watch that exchange again from Breo's perspective, perchance, and around the outside. This was really brave, and he claimed that one, and you have to say that was neat and tidy from Apex not found as well. I was going to say that the Japanese characters on the back of the car here mean Apex or Summit in Japanese, that Apex Specs put on. I think I've talked about that before, but unfortunately he's got a 3-second off throttle penalty, which will bring the car to a virtual halt on the exit of that one. There's plenty going on here at the back of the grid then. Lord Top Hat and Kelvin the Boss. Lord Top Hat struggling. I think he's got lag on the car, so he's not quite as crazy looking on track as perhaps he looks from that perspective. Lord Top Hat racing out of Australia, mate, with Kelvin the Boss trying to navigate this tricky situation, car with lag, trying to get by, and it's also your teammate, so you're trying to leave a huge margin for error, but hopefully they're talking to each other. I think they are. Lord Top Hat just lifting to let his teammate go on the approach to Pouon, and that was really useful for them. But unfortunately for Jann Interiors, 13th and 14th. Jann Interiors though with a new driver coming for this last, or at least the penultimate round of the championship in the S1, and he is of alien status, I'm reliably informed. So tune in on Sunday, the 17th of August, if I've got my days correct there. Yeah, Sunday 17th of August, 18:30 UK time, to see someone actually capable of taking it to Beragos and Vader in the S1 division. Run DMC leads ahead of Nasty in second, and that's on the SVR-Racing channel, by the way, not this one. So make sure that you have got that organised. Nasty is in second, Run DMC in first, and Pumpkin King still trying to get hold of the lead of this race. Run DMC yet to pit for his second stop, but he will need to, I believe, off the medium tyre. We have a full 15 minutes to go before the checkered flag even thinks about being waved. Not that the checkered flag has the sentience, but I think you get my meaning. The 77 of Nasty though, why does he have 32 in front of his name, but his car number is 77? I think he is rocking someone else's race number. I think that's what's going on, because he's a reserve driver. He hasn't adjusted his livery for his number 32. we were talking about this in a casual lobby, and the rumour has it that Nasty 32 is his number of kills. So he increases every time he has successfully killed. I'll leave it to your imagination as to whether that is virtual or real. DeLucas in P4, showing very well in the Brokaga Jag at the moment. Might be able to get by Run DMC when he takes his second pit stop. But I think DeLucas planning in the low growling Jaguar to make it home. Let's have a listen to this car as we go through Eau Rouge and Rayon. I do enjoy this almost as much as the Audi R8. Well, pretty big lift going through Eau Rouge and Rayon. Maybe just a little bit late on the upshifts coming out of La Source as well. But you guys can let me know if I'm talking rubbish there. Monkey Games in P7, pits from that P7, and Black Evo will try now to sprint his way home. He's put another set of mediums on. So he has gone hard tyres, medium, which I thought he would go for a second set of hards given the amount of race left. But no, he's gone for a slightly more aggressive strategy, which we love to see. And he has got a fair distance to catch the cars in front and get back onto the podium. He's going to rely, I think, on other drivers potentially pitting. He knows that Run DMC will pit again, and he will now try and put in some fast laps here, although Run DMC does have the fastest overall, 220.0, and his best is a 220.6, but while he's got those brand new medium tyres on, he will be quicker relative to his teammate, and of course he'll be hoping that his teammate yields the race result at the end, even if he does pass him. JCGT still has his hazard lights on. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to warn anybody about. And there goes Run DMC's pit stop. 9 litres of fuel remaining on the car. Personal best sector for JCGT at this stage of the race. He's on nicely warmed up medium tyres. They're about to go over the edge and be overheated or lacking their optimal grip, but for now he gets a good run. Here comes Run DMC into the pit lane. Nasty and Pumpkin King are definitely within range of each other here with 11 minutes left to go in our race, and Pumpkin King could well take this to a finish. We'll see if the Bergstein Transport Service guys can bring themselves back into contention. They've had some good runs out at the front of the field, but having to stop twice versus these two drivers who are going to try and do this on one stop has obviously cost them a lot of time, especially with that long pit lane here at the Spa 24-hour layout. It's something that the drivers have to really think long and hard about, taking an extra stop and whether it is worth trying to eke out the fuel if you can and the tyres to make a one-stop race run. Of course, that means operating in less than 10 tenths pushing conditions, so you've got to have a lot of discipline to be able to do that. I know a lot of drivers who can only really race at full, absolutely at the limit, but it is a really important feature of endurance racing, which is to make sure that you're smooth and consistent and can eliminate a pit stop wherever possible. DeLucas in P3, JCGT in P4, and Run DMC in 5th place now, having managed to stay ahead of his teammate Black Evo. As Black Evo had a problem there, 221 for the last 2 laps. His outlap was a 3:05. That feels really long to me. Man alive, that was long. Of course, he didn't fuel in the first stop to run as light as possible, so he's had to take all of his stationary time in his second stop to refuel. But Black Evo, that's a very, very long outlap sequence for him, unfortunately. In comparison, that's where the time has been lost. He was right with his teammate, but flattering to deceive slightly, I guess, because he didn't take any fuel on that, or minimal fuel. Oh, we didn't like that that turquoise or teal bollard, did he, Run DMC? and he wiped that out, but thankfully he doesn't get a penalty for it. Our race control being somewhat generous there. I did think that if you touched a bollard, you were by definition abusing track limits, but he's got away with it. We've got a fair stock of those bollards, because it's rare you get a full race without them being eliminated. Motzky's in 7th, Apex Not Found in 8th, and then we have Gubanov in 9th place in the Lexus, and trying to get by on these hard tyres. The Lexus drivers often having to take an extra set of hard tyres to everybody else. Yes, it makes up for it in handling possibly, and in top speed certainly, but that seems to be the main disadvantage of the Lexus. Apex Specs has his medium tyres on here, and would like to get by as quickly as possible, because he will feel like he's being held up. A little unnecessary shoulder there, and then it compounds going through Blanchimont. And I think that was great sportsmanship from Apex Specs, who recognised in the moment that he made it marginal. I think Gubanov basically saying, I've had enough of this treatment, go on, because I'm never going to hold you up anyway, so just go by and stop pushing me around. So Monkey Games will hope to get into the top 10 as well. He's got those new medium tyres on too, but of course the longer that Gubanov can hang on, the better. I just don't think it's going to happen here, as Monkey Games manages to get the car into the apex much neater, but then struggles with the traction on the inside of the circuit on the way through. This is on board with Monkey Games in the Porsche. A lot of steering angle on going through Eau Rouge, but Gubanov is clearly struggling like crazy here. Rare to see the Porsche outperform the Lexus on top speed, and we're not going to get to the overlap by the point at which we're braking. We'll try the cut back. Oh, but Gubanov neatly keeping it at the apex then through Les Comps, and Monkey Games unable to take advantage through there. But there's a little Belgian flag on the back. Oh, thank you, Monkey, for adding a little bit of flair on the back of the car, on the rear quarter there. I hadn't noticed that before. And there's his Karate Monkey on the right rear quarter underneath the fender in the 232. There is Lord Top Hat in 12th, with Kelvin the Boss in 13th. Breo, unusually here at the back in the Jaguar, about to get lapped by our race leader Nasty. So there'll be blue flags, and there indeed is a blue flag being waved for Nasty. Yes, to help Nasty and Pumpkin King get by. Down to just the final 6 minutes of the race now. And it's a question of who has saved enough of fuel and tyres to be able to attack here later in the race. Pumpkin King have an unusually quiet race here. He's been somewhat conservative. He's driving like a champion-elect, I think, at this stage, which is all important for it's part of being a champion, is driving with the pressure of the championship on your shoulders. Obviously, for some that is greater than for others, but with Apex Not Found somewhat away here from Pumpkin King, down in 8th provisionally for the race. Pumpkin King will be closing in on the title with these final few laps, so he's definitely feeling it, and his race engineer, I think it was Empire, will be just keeping his driver calm, just making sure that he does what he needs to do to try and secure the title. Of course, nothing's secured until after race. Our stewards have made the provisional results today guaranteed, so we shall not crown a champion until absolutely confirmed. But here is DeLucas in P3, now trying to hold off on old hard tyres JCGT, who is on similar age medium tyres at the moment, or similar state medium tyres, but has a penalty. I don't understand why drivers do this. Please help me out. Why are you doing a risky overtake, JCGT, at this point on a car who has a penalty when you are about to pay a penalty? That, for me, look, I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. This may be an unpopular opinion, and I apologise for it, but that is unsporting, as far, in my personal opinion. Discuss. I'm not accusing JCGT of being an unsporting driver, but I just don't like to see people getting really aggressive when they already have a penalty on the car, or even when they've just made a big mistake and they are clearly marginal on grip and other things like that. Take the L for a little bit and live to fight another day, perhaps. But that could have gone really wrong, and I'm probably talking about it way too severely now. But yeah, let me know what you think. I will certainly hear people out and change my mind on the basis of evidence or counter arguments, but it just doesn't feel great to me. Run DMC and Black Evo, P5 and P6. I don't know if they're going to be able here. The gaps are just too big. The race has grown to a point here. The distances between the cars has grown to a point. I think it's going to be really challenging to finish this race out and actually feature on the podium, sadly, despite having the fastest cars in qualifying, of course. Pumpkin King now lapping. That's Breo. So that's the overtake happened. Pumpkin King is going to be in trouble on these tyres. I think at the end of the race, I don't think he's going to be in any state to try and take home a win today. But this could be second place number 3 of the season, and that's still a very remarkable achievement. 5 wins and 3 seconds and a no score, putting him clear of everybody else in the championship so far. So we have got De Lucas in P3. This will represent a huge run of points for the driver who's currently in 9th in the championship. He has a second place in round 9 to his name, but this really would be a very strong upward trend for De Lucas, who only started with us in round 5 and of course was here for the change round of the car from the Supra to the Jaguar, as approved of course by the team captains, by the other team captains in the league. JCGT P4. He has won once before, 2 seconds, 1 third place, and then it's been, after round 4, it's not been the best of times for JCGT, so I think a 4th place would be very welcome for the Kimmy's Racing Team driver. He's missed 3 races with us this season, so great to have him back to finish out the season. Run DMC running in P5 at the moment, and we have a minute and a half, not even, to go for the race. Black Evo in 6th. We've got Motsky in 7th place right now. Apex Not Found right with him here. Motsky is bravely holding on, and this is very impressive from Motsky, I think, on the hard tyres. And the longer he can do this, as I was saying before, the better position he'll be in relative to Apex Not Found. Now, Apex Not Found's rear tyres are going off faster than his fronts. That'll be a decision on the setup. And there, he just lost the car going through Blanchimont of all places on his own. But dirty air, low rear grip, perhaps to blame. Motsky keeping it controlled into the bus stop. This is a fascinating one. 7th and 8th positions then, and how this one is going to finish out. Apex Specs having a difficult race. I think it's definitely been challenging here for the Audi drivers today, but Apex Specs is in 9th. Monkey Games in 10th with Gubanoff in 11th. We've got Lord Top Hat in 12th, Kevin the Boss in 13th. Breo has been lapped, and I think Kevin the Boss has too. And then we will see if, confirm that. We just saw that in the rear view. We just see if Pumpkin King and Nasty can finish out the race safely enough. We're about to tick over. This will then be the final lap of the race as we head out of Paul Frere. So time ticking by, and it's almost enough for Gubanoff to start thinking he's going to hang on to this one. One more lap to go for Gubanoff to hang on, but Nasty has put in a phenomenal performance in the Ferrari. Comes into the bus stop. The checker flag is ready. He goes through everything, looking very nicely under control. Nasty will take the win for the Ferrari Kimmy's Racing Team, and Pumpkin King bringing home 2nd place and potentially the title. De Lucas will cross over and take home a 3rd place soon. His teammate was just getting past there, so De Lucas is still waiting to go through Blanchimont, such as the gulf between the top 2 and the rest of the field. Run DMC is right with him, and this could be a drag race to the finish if there is a problem for De Lucas. Here comes De Lucas to cross the line. He will take home 3rd place in the end. Run DMC front row to 4th place, but a strong performance with the deficit in performance of the Nismo. JCGT home in 5th place in the end. He lost out on that final lap. Black Evo is in 6th. It looks like Apex Not Found has got by Moxkey, and Apex Not Found then. Let's just see if we can see when that happened. Here we go. We're approaching Leifania, outside to inside. Beautiful dummy then from Apex Not Found. A little hip check maybe, but he had the right to battle at the corner. He was fully alongside in my first view of the incident anyway, and Apex Not Found completing the move on the final lap, and that was really good. And then you can see Moxkey struggling on the in the Lexus, going through Stavlo and into Paul Frere. So he's held on gamely, but it was just one lap too many for him. So we will just fast forward this because we've seen this section. Here comes Apex Not Found to cross the line in 7th place. Moxkey will get 8th. Apex Specs in 9th, completely on his own here with Monkey Games. In 10th place, Gubanoff in 11th, Lord Top Hat, Kelvin the Boss, and Brayo finishing out the run. But it's nasty. Pumpkin King and De Lucas, your podium for this 11th round of the 2025 VR Sim Racing World Championship in the G2 division. This is Webbo signing out to say a big thank you to everyone who supports the video, presses all the buttons at the bottom of the screen. Thank you so much for everybody. Make sure you're subscribing to @SVR-Racing as well for this this forthcoming Nürburgring round live on that channel for the S1 division. Thanks everybody. Catch you on the next race day.